Welcome back to the Armchair Meddler, where I review news videos, usually of a sensational nature, and I give you my opinion, even though you didn't ask for it. That's why I'm the Armchair Meddler. So today we're going to take a look at a news video where a man kidnapped a 22-year-old and held her hostage in his house for 6 months. So apparently he tortured this girl, did all kinds of horrible things to her. But anyhow, let's not delay any further and get right into this video.
Hills man who is pleading not guilty to charges he kidnapped, raped, and tortured a woman for an excruciating 6 months.
A San Bernardino County Sheriff's SWAT team took that man into custody in Orange County over the weekend. Let's get right to KTLA's Shelby Nelson, live from Chino Hills with more. Shelby.
Yeah, Sheriff Pedro, this case just keeps getting more and more disturbing as new details arise. Now, earlier today, we spoke with neighbors, many of them not wanting to go on camera, but they do tell us they called police about 7 to 8 times to their neighborhood after hearing some disturbing noises inside that home. Now, nothing really came of it until...
Okay, first of all, they called the police 7 to 8 times after hearing disturbing noises. I imagine those disturbing noises were probably maybe cries for help, maybe screams, but 7 to 8 times? That's just, that's unbelievable that it took that many times for the neighbors to call before something was finally done about this. Let's continue on.
Was finally able to escape from the home where her alleged attacker was still inside.
It's crazy how something like that can happen for months on end, and we have no idea that something like that is happening, but yet it's so close.
Disturbing.
You know what? That's very true what that young lady just said, because the thing is, even though this girl was rescued, all throughout the U.S., well, I want to phrase that correctly. I just want to say that this sort of thing is happening somewhere else right now. You know, there's some girl or girls being held captive in some house, some basement somewhere. It's going on right now, and nobody just knows about it. You know, you have all these missing girls, children, ladies. So yeah, it's ongoing, and even it happens to boys and men too, but mostly young ladies. Let's go ahead and get back into this.
Of what allegedly went on behind closed doors at this Chino Hills home. A woman now in stable condition after authorities say she escaped a house of horrors, being kidnapped, raped, and tortured, among several other allegations.
The victim was able to escape the home where she had been held captive. She made her way to an area where there was a nearby park. There were some people in the park that heard her as she was yelling out for help.
Okay, so I just want to go back to the part where they were saying that she was tortured, because I don't think they covered it in this news broadcast, but I actually read up on this a few articles, and it was saying, as far as the torture, that this poor girl, she had her eye gouged out. She had her lip cut. Also, her ear was cut. And yeah, those are just a few of the things that I recall reading about it. But let's get back into this video.
They came to her aid and called 911.
That was Thursday, but about 6 months ago, authorities say the 22-year-old victim moved in with 59-year-old Peter Anthony McGuire.
Sure.
Okay, so this video doesn't really go into why she moved in with this gentleman. Well, I guess I shouldn't call him a gentleman. I don't know why she moved in with him. You know, I don't know if there was some sort of relationship, if she was just desperate for a place to stay. But let's go ahead and roll this video again.
After knew that that wasn't somewhere that she wanted to be, but unfortunately, she was not able to leave.
We're now learning that McGuire had 2 active business licenses as a private investigator and security patrol. Many neighbors tell us they believe he was an ex-cop. In the months leading up, police responding to 7 to 8 calls at his home, but the sheriff's department saying no one ever answered the door. Many neighbors saying disturbing noises came from inside.
From what I understand, some of my neighbors did quite frequently, and one of the neighbors had an actual recording of hearing the woman crying in the middle of the night. Somebody that is in the neighborhood, I won't mention who it was actually confronted by him a month or so ago.
Okay, so frequent crying in the middle of the night. The police are called 7 times. I'm trying to figure out why more wasn't done, investigation wasn't done. Because that's really strange to hear somebody crying in the middle of the night like that. And it's multiple neighbors hearing this and multiple neighbors calling 911 or at least calling the police over and over and over again. So I just think that the police, wouldn't they find that suspicious and try to do more to investigate? Not let it get to the point to where it drags on for 6 months before they find out what's going on in that house. I'm not trying to be critical. I'm just trying to figure this out.
And he had a handgun, so we relayed that to the police.
Home surveillance video captures the moment SWAT teams and other law enforcement personnel arrived to take McGuire into custody. By that time, he had fled and was later arrested at a home in Placentia. McGuire pleaded not guilty Monday to several charges, including torture, kidnapping, and assault with a deadly weapon.
I really feel bad that we walked by and knowing now that she was in the house.
Yeah, what that lady said, like I said, somewhere in the U.S., I'm sure in multiple locations, there's people, usually it's females, are being held against their will, and the neighbors have no idea. Actually, these neighbors in this neighborhood, it seems like they did what they could to try to get this situation investigated. Of course, it sounds like none of them knew what was actually going on in that house, but they did call about the crying in the night, the strange noises that they heard. So the neighbors actually did their part. It just seems like the police didn't really do their part. And I'm not trying to be critical, but it just seems like there should be more investigation when you're getting that many calls and cries in the night, you know? When somebody's crying in the night, obviously there's some sort of, they're not happy, there's some sort of trauma going on. Something is bothering someone. So it seems like there should have been a better investigation.
Now, as you heard, McGuire pleaded not guilty to the several charges he is facing. He is scheduled to be back in court on Wednesday in Rancho Cucamonga. Reporting live in Chino Hills, I'm Shelby Nelson, KTLA 5 News.
Okay, so I read that the girl is in the hospital, that she's in stable condition. Like I said, some of the things that happened to her eye was gouged out. Okay. Another thing that I read is that he cut her tongue. I don't know if he cut it out. I hate saying that, but he cut her tongue, I guess, in an attempt to silence her. And her lip and then her ear. So he was torturing her. And then, of course, you have the whole rape thing. I'm not going to go into that because I read about what happened. It's kind of graphic. But this is horrible. 6 months. And I read also that shortly after the girl got to the house, she wanted to leave and he would not let her leave, and he was able to keep her in that house for 6 months, which is just so sad. I hope that girl is doing okay, that she's being reunited with her family. Hopefully there's a good situation there, but I feel really bad for her. The neighbors did all they could do. Law enforcement, I can't really say, the same. I kind of question because of the 7 phone calls and what the neighbors described. Obviously, they're describing that to law enforcement. But anyhow, we're going to end this video. I want to thank you for tuning in to the Armchair Meddler. Hopefully, you'll show back up for future videos. Peace.